Let's talk the election coming up in November, and let's talk Trump. Um, Growing up in communism, I only saw hatred that only came close to what Trump is being hated was Ronald Reagan when he was a president. How from behind the Iron Curtain, how the communists they hated his guts. Constantly on TV, baby killer, everything you can think of. Ronald Reagan was the most evil, despicable human being ever in the history of the world, according to the communists. That's how much they hated him. And it was because he wasn't letting them get away with stuff, and he actually went after them and he tried to topple communism. And so the only thing with Trump is as close as the hatred is I can relate to Ronald Reagan. And it's done by the same people. It's done by the leftists, the Marxists, the communists, the dictators that want to bring in the socialist utopia where you're not going to have any rights and any freedoms, any property. You're not going to have private property if you think you're going to own your home and all of this. You're not going to have your iPhones or any of that. You're not going to be able to afford it. You're going to have to work, because that's one thing that nobody talks about, that in communism you actually had to work because they had to exploit you to get money out of you. First they give you something, it's like a drug dealer. First they give you something, but then they take a lot more away. So you're going to lose all your freedoms. And because Obama, as he promised, wanted to fundamentally change America, which, what do you think it means? Fundamentally change it to a socialist hellhole that I lived in and escaped from twice. So that's why he's so hated by the left, is because he's undoing all of that. The Democrats been working on this for decades to change America from a free, prosperous, capitalist society to a socialist hellhole, and they thought they have it in the bag. With Obama did a lot of evil stuff to this country, and Hillary Clinton was going to finish the job, and we would have socialism. And Trump started taking everything back, and actually as a patriot, caring about the country, caring about our freedoms. So that's why they hate him so much. I mean, that vitriol. So a lot of you might have reservation voting for Trump, but look at the alternative. You're going to vote for the Democratic Party, look at history, you're going to have socialism. You're going to have communism. It is going to come. They're going to put it in. That's their goal. They don't even hide it anymore. And it's the most evil regime in the history of mankind. Communism killed, in a short history of not even 100 years, by low estimates, they killed 100 million people. More likely 200 or 250 million people. And the hundreds of millions that they oppressed, the hundreds and hundreds of millions that they destroyed their lives and they imprisoned, it's an unspeakable evil, and it has been done before in the last century. If you think it can't happen in America, you're watching it right under your noses happening. The fundamental change and transformation with renaming everything, banning. Can you imagine in America books being banned and statues being toppled and movies being banned and products being banned, or they have to be renamed, sports teams canceled or unless they rename. So this is the tactic that's been done in my country, in the whole Eastern Bloc, in Cuba, in China, North Korea, Vietnam. I mean, so don't think you're impervious to it. Even as Ronald Reagan said, we're only one generation away from losing all of our freedoms, and we're not even 3 months away from losing all of our freedoms. You might not like Trump, what he says. You know what? I don't vote for somebody that is polished in a speech or that's nice or politically correct. I vote for somebody who's going to preserve my freedoms and my prosperity and my way of life. And Donald Trump is doing that, and he will do that. The Democratic Party will take it all away from you. So wake up. You're being lied. All this social justice and equality and all of this nonsense that the Democratic Party is pushing, and it is all lies and theft. We are, at the end, if the Democrats win, we are going to be all equal and equally oppressed and equally miserable, and they're going to rule us. And you Christians, you think that Trump is too mean and he says mean things on Twitter, and as a Christian I can't vote for him. Well, maybe you need to read your Bible a little more. Okay? Look what Jesus did. The evil people that were against God, even the priest, he called them Pharisees and snakes. Those were insults. He took a whip and he whipped them out of the temple. You know, Jesus was no pushover. He was a tough man that stood up against evil. And so you need to stood up against evil. The American view of Christianity is like this. I don't understand it. It's like you have to just allow yourselves to be trampled upon and God to be trampled upon. And God's principles and morality to be trampled upon. And you want to vote for the Democratic Party as a Christian? You want to vote for abortion? You want to vote for gay marriage? You want to vote for all these gender nonsense that God said created a man and a woman and not some XYZ 75 genders? God created everybody equal, and you want to vote for being separated into classes, that if you're this, you get these benefits. If you're this color or in this class, you don't get this or you get that. Just separating us, being unequal. That is what you're voting for. If you vote for the Democratic Party, and because Trump is not nice and he says something, look at the prophets. Look at David. Look at Samson. You need to learn your Bible. You need to learn which people God lifted up and what kind of people they were. They were not your brand of Christianity. Look at the apostles. Look at Paul, how he wrote to the churches when they were wrong, how he ostracized them. Okay? Trump might not be nice. Nice according to whose standards? And who cares if he's nice? You know, you're going to vote in a nice person? Joe Biden, that lies all the time and is a racist, that didn't want to send his kid to a racial jungle school because it was being integrated. That is your view of Christianity? Murdering children, murdering black babies, 17 million black babies being murdered since Roe versus Wade. That's what you're supporting? And you're going to talk about some nonsense where you can't vote as a Christian, you cannot vote for Trump? Give me a break. Get on your knees and pray, ask for discernment and ask for wisdom, and learn about the most godly people that God used to do his will. And you will realize that Trump is being used by God to preserve our way of life that was established by God. Unique country. This country is very unique. It was established on God's principles, which is freedom, liberties, prosperity, rights to have that you don't have in any other country. America is the only country to have freedom of speech. The Democrats are already taking it away. You're being canceled if you say something against their narrative. So if you like your life the way it is, you go vote for Trump, regardless of that you've been a Democrat your whole life. Trust me, you're not going to like what your party's going to do to you. And at the end of the day, it will come after you too, because if you're just a regular Democrat, you are a useful idiot, what Lenin called it. You're helping usher in something that's actually going to be against you, and it's going to eat you alive. Revolution eats its own children. So go vote for Donald Trump if you love freedom. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and click on the notification bell.